In this video I share a custom soap order with a special request of essential oil blend and a custom stamp. It is a request from a local barber shop and this is his logo. It means black sheep in Italian. Whenever I'm working with new fragrances, be it a fragrance oil or essential oils, I test them out to see how they perform in terms of discoloration, but also acceleration. That's why I know how to go about it, especially when you have to make a bigger batch. My patrons have seen my behind the scene video where I share additional information on how I go about this step before I really start. Also, I wanted to share the process how a stamp gets manufactured, as not everybody gets to see what actually happens. My soap stamp maker Bernd has sent me some very interesting video clips of the making of his stamps, so I can share it with all of you. Although this is not one of the stamps that he made for me. The way that usually goes is that I basically send him the requested design by email. Then the next step is to work out how that particular design can be made into a stamp. For example, if the designs are too intricate, he will work out a simpler design while still keeping the integrity of the logo or of the picture, whatever is represented. He will send me back the version that can work out on a stamp, and then I would check back with my client, making sure he's satisfied with the result. It is important to transmit the information that you need to be able to actually stamp something into a soap fairly easily. So you cannot go one for one with a design. Sometimes it needs to be adjusted accordingly. Once everybody is happy with the result, he will start to create the stamp on an acrylic block. As you can see here, the machine he uses will work for about 7 to 9 hours depending on the intricacy of the design. If you don't have a soap stamp maker, I highly recommend him. Even if he's located in Germany, he's very service oriented and super efficient, super easy to work with. It's totally worth the couple of dollars of shipping from Europe as well. You will find, of course, his link down in the description, along with all other links for ingredients and tools that I'm using or recommending. Now I'm ready to start soaping. Since I have florals in my essential oil blend and I am using single cavity molds, I'm soaping at a very low temperature, meaning about 30 degrees Celsius, which translates to about 86 Fahrenheit. Also, I increase the liquid oils 10% to have the batter stay rather fluid. I decided to split the batch in 3 parts, so if anything weird happens, I don't have to lose 100 soaps. I just mix the emulsion and then I split off half of the batch. Add the fragrance oil to it and just mix it in with the spatula to avoid acceleration. Then I quickly fill the molds. By the way, these molds hold 100 grams of soap each. Very simple, straightforward types of molds that I got off of Amazon, and I have accumulated enough over time to make about 150 soaps at a time. I feel that I have a certain compulsive mold purchase syndrome, and believe it or not, molds are the item that take up the most space in my workshop. It's really ridiculous. Please let me know if you have something similar going on. That would make me feel much better too. Once all the soap is poured, I spritz the top with rubbing alcohol to prevent soda ash, and then I leave it to set overnight for about 24 hours. Sometimes it needs more time. You can basically tell by stretching the mold around the soap. If you feel that they are too sticky, just leave it one more day. It's a pity to ruin the soap just because you were impatient. I have learned this the hard way. This batch here was ready to unmold after 24 hours, but the ones after that took 2 to 3 days. I did add some sodium lactate to help with the unmolding also. I add it to the cooled lye water solution usually. For the stamping, the way I like to do it is to use a rubber mallet. You just want to give it a very gentle tap to achieve an impression on the surface of the soap. You will recognize it immediately once you see it, but I will show you another angle in just a moment where you can see it better. Then you gently wiggle out the stamp. Very gently, because the soap is still very soft. I usually stamp immediately after cutting or unmolding, depending if I use a loaf mold or single cavity molds. A good tip is to use rubbing alcohol after each stamping, as this helps the release of the stamp so that the soap doesn't tear. If you see that soap residues get stuck between your design, just take a small brush and remove it under running warm water. Otherwise, you can compromise the design of the stamp. That would be a pity also. Of course, these are handmade soaps, so nobody really expects them to be totally perfect and uniform, because I think this is the charm of handmade. Here in Switzerland, it's even a bit a trend to have things look a bit rustic, if that makes sense. These soaps are for an old school vintage barber, like we know from old mafia movies, so it will be absolutely fitting to the overall concept. I have some amazing packaging and labeling idea for this one that I will share with you in a second video, or part 2 if you will, just because it would be too long to share everything in this video here. In the meantime, they will cure and get ready to be dressed up, so to speak. If you are interested in other soap making related videos, check out the playlist on the screen where you can find many more. Also, feel free to subscribe and see you very soon. Bye bye!